Well, hello there, and welcome back to the very latest episode of my Love Machine podcast. Now, today I'm excited to bring you a very special guest to talk about the wonders of dating in real life. Because, yes, it does exist once again. It's not just dating apps, not just online dating. You can go out in the real world, meet people, have fun, and connect face to face. So, today I'm joined by the wonderful Sarah Payne. And Sarah is the events manager of SpeedDater. And SpeedDater have been going for 20 years now, and they are the UK's oldest speed dating company. And they do lots of events every year. They do 70 events a month in 24 UK cities. Everything from speed dating to huge singles parties. They have a great reputation. And Sarah is also the host of the Romance and the Realist podcast. And she is the founder of Solos, the UK's first ever singles venue, when it eventually launches. Sarah, how are you doing?
Morning, hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Now, you're feeling a bit rough this morning. You've been out festivaling, you said.
I have. I'm not at my finest today, but yes, I've had a very fun weekend, and yes, work hard, play hard.
That's the best way to be. Now, I know you mentioned you were single before, so are you doing any dating in real life at the festival?
I am single in real life. No, I didn't. I don't think it's really the place to be dating, but you're not at your best, are you, when you've lived in a field for 3 days? But I actually looked into doing speed dating at festivals because I think it would be such a great thing to put in and, have different sorts of tents with the speed dating running, and you could just come for a slot at a certain time. I think that would be such a great thing to do at a festival, but just not me.
I looked into that myself about 8 years ago doing that. It wasn't a music festival. It was one of those sort of arts festivals that has all sorts of things, comedy tents, things going on. I thought what a great idea that would be. I may have got a quote at the time, may have discussed it, I don't know. But yeah, we seem to think quite alike because I've run many events over the years. I know I said that to you before off podcast, and now you're running them all yourself. How long have you been doing this for now?
So I've been at SpeedDater for just over 4 years now. So I've been doing it a long time.
Fantastic.
And yeah, there's nothing better. I mean, obviously in the pandemic we were running virtual events, and then we were doing picnic dating, so we're just doing it outside in the park. And but yeah, there's nothing better than seeing a room buzzing full of single people and everyone back meeting and watching those first connections again.
Yeah, do you think people are less judgmental in real life or more judgmental compared to, say, the dating apps?
Definitely less judgmental, I think, because when you're meeting someone in real life, even if you're not initially attracted to them, when you meet for the first time, you might say something to someone and make them laugh, and you have that instant connection. Whereas, it sort of takes the pressure of visual away. Whereas when you're on the apps and you're swiping through, someone might have been really funny or caring or loving, and you've swiped because you're like, no, I don't fancy him or her or them. I think it's really, I don't think there's anything better than an in real life dating event. You just can't beat it.
I completely agree with you. I think the trouble with the apps is you are filtering. And someone you might filter away for, say, being an inch too short or a year too old. In real life, you don't know. You're going to go up to them, speak to them, particularly speed dating, because everyone's sat down, aren't they? So they can't be as judgmental as they can maybe on these apps. I tend to recommend a combination of both. I think apps have their place, but in real life, you just can't beat that. It's the vibe, it's the thrill, it's the excitement of going there. And actually, even it's in different dimensions, isn't it? You can smell their perfume, smell the aftershave. You can see how they
100%.
are. You can hear their voice. You can't see that on the apps. It's a completely different experience. So, what types of events do you do? You mentioned picnic dating. That sounds fun.
Yeah, so we don't do it as much anymore because we're back in sort of venues, but we struggled quite a bit with the pandemic and the social distancing. Like you had to be a meter apart, even in venues. You couldn't sit with people that you weren't
Yeah.
you know, living with. So we came up with picnic dating idea because we could, space everyone out. And then actually I was like, this is a brilliant idea. We have Prosecco, everyone sits down on picnic blankets, and then we rotate the men round. And, it's such a nice little day in the park. Everyone's out, and as long as it's not raining, obviously. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's so many different ways now you can do singles events. And, we do the singles parties. We've got a boat party next week. We do the wine tasting, we do elite dating. So if you want to, find someone with the same sort of lifestyle as you, you can. We do vegetarian speed dating. We do a variety of events. And I'm at the moment working on expanding gay, lesbian, bisexual events to make sure that everything we're doing, for our straight events is being done as well for, everyone that wants to join in with speed dating and dating in real life and all these different options.
Fantastic. There used to be lots of events years ago for that sort of market, and they don't really exist in the same way that they used to. It used to be big companies to run it all the time. But I remember doing wine tasting. Wine tastings are great fun for events. I remember doing them, eating all the food we used to get. We used to get food because used to get these minimum spends at the venues. I'm sure you know about all that. We won't discuss that on the podcast. But I was there eating all the food in advance with my hosts and drinking the drink afterwards, and it was a great event because it gets people together. When there's a talking point of some sort, it's a great way of unifying people, isn't it?
Absolutely. For me with SpeedDater, the important thing is getting, continuing to get people to meet and have connections in real life. So doing experiences together, there's nothing better. I'm a massive fan of wine. So to sit around wine tasting, you're in a more natural environment. The pressure's off. You're not like, speed dating can be quite intimidating, actually. So if you're a bit more of a nervous person or, a bit more reserved, wine tasting, you can sit, have some cheese, chat, listen, learn something new. And then, the meeting people happens a little bit more organically, whereas speed dating, it's like, right, sit down, next. So it just depends what you're sort of into as well. For me, I love the activity events. I think we've done so many different ones over the years. We've done like the crazy golf, we've done ping pong, an activity one. They're just such great fun.
They really are. I think changing things up again and making things a bit different. People come for a new event to give it a go. I'm just thinking of you wearing a T-shirt that says, "I'm a massive fan of wine." Yeah. Maybe you should sell that. It's a great T-shirt, isn't it? Sell that on Etsy. I don't know. Not the best one to wear for a speed dating event.
Start a little side business.
You could do. I think that speed dating does serve its place for people that are maybe new to dating, because it's a great way of practicing flirting skills, body language, things like that. Do you agree?
I will always say, even, everyone should try speed dating regardless, but it's great dating practice because you have to talk, you have to put yourself out there, and you're doing it, 10, 12, 15 times in one night. Whereas if you were just on a dating app day, you'd have to sit with that one person all night. And, if you're not a massive fan of them, it's a long time to sit with someone, isn't it? But with speed dating, it's like, I've got 3 minutes. This is great, great dating practice. So I'm a big fan.
It is. I tell people that say to me, I haven't been on a date for years, they say. I've been single for X amount of years, or I've been widowed. Whatever the reason is, I don't know what to do. I'm scared to go on a date. So once I've given them the coaching, I'll say, go out to a singles event or a speed dating event. Then you can say you've been on 20 dates. You've done that. You've broken that thing out of your mind, the limiting belief that I can't date and I can't do this. And it gets you started, which is, this is a bit of a dull question. We'll make it more interesting in a second. But what are your tips for speed dating questions?
Oh, I just think go in with an open mind. You might not meet the love of your life, but you might meet someone, you might also meet another woman or another man that's single, especially the older age ranges that we do. They might just need a companion or someone, then another single friend to go out for drinks with, to then go to the bars and the clubs if they want to do that and meet people that way. But, just go in with an open mind, enjoy the experience, use it as dating practice. And I think if you take the pressure off yourself that, I didn't meet, Brad Pitt or the love of my life. And, you probably might not, but you might meet someone that you have a great connection with, or you spend 3 minutes and learn something new about somebody. For me, it's always about asking questions that, not what do you do for a job? What do you do? Like interesting thing, find out things about this person, show that you're interested. But what I've learned about human psychology doing speed dating, watching people, how they interact with each other, and you just know if someone likes someone because they sit up and they perk up and they're, the girl will like toss her hair a little bit, and you can see that instant connection happen. And just be yourself, take it with an open mind.
I think that's great advice about going into this, not just to maybe get a date moment, make a new friend, make new connections, particularly for guys, because guys find it awkward. Guys tend to come on their own to the events, or lone wolves, and women come with their friends. So men find it a bit awkward. So I say, yeah, absolutely. You might make a new friend. He might be able to introduce you to their friends, or they might know other singles events, or be able to go with you as a wingman or wingwoman after. In fact, I do that for my clients quite a lot. I match them up and say, look, this is not a dating matchmaking thing, but you both want to go to a singles event. There you go. There's one. Go out and tell me what you think. And that works quite well.
That's such a good idea that you just said. Like, you matchmake your clients to give them some confidence. Like you said, if someone's nervous and they don't want to go on their own, matchmaking them with another single person is a brilliant idea, because it then gives them someone to go with. Because, you know, a lot of people, my friends now especially, all of them are married. So I don't really have that single friend to be like, should we go out and meet people? And, you know, even me as a person that I run SpeedDater, and it's like, they're like, it's ironic, isn't it, that you're single? But
I was single once, a long time ago, and I used to absolutely love, this is how I first started all this dating coaching. I gate crashed a big singles party. I mentioned this to you before off podcast, and some of my listeners have heard this before. I gate crashed a 1,000-person single party in London called Chemistry. Put on the t-shirt, pretended I was working it, realised that all my acting skills were very transferable. And also, by very act of putting on that t-shirt, it elevates you slightly above all the guests. So everyone comes, you know what it's like, and they come to you. I'm not saying that I was better than anybody else. I just mean that it was easy to approach. Everyone assumed that I was going to be friendlier, and I'll be the first person that they talked to when they walked in. And that's actually one of my biggest tips for all these singles events. Pretend that you weren't there. Pretend that you're the host. Go around, introduce people, ask them how they're getting on. And then there's no fear.
Absolutely. That's a great idea. I think it, like you said, it gives you that bit of confidence, because you can almost pretend that, you know, that you're working there and you're just going round, so no one would find it uncomfortable. You know, I just think that's really good advice, actually, just to gate crash. Anyone's welcome to come and gate crash SpeedDater parties. We've got one next Saturday. Come along. Pretend you work there.
That used to really irritate me, gate crashes, funnily enough, at these events. I used to respect it once, because I used to try and gate crash things. I gate crashed, like I mentioned, I meant celebrity parties, all these things over the years. If they get caught gate crashing, say they come in the back door, because lots of these venues have got more than one entrance, haven't they?
Yeah.
They come in the back door, you tell them off. If they do it again, then I get really annoyed about it. Yeah. Because I found it disrespectful.
But do you know what? I mean, I've had it at singles parties a lot. I have like life coaches turn up and stuff. And they're going around, and whether they're pitching to get clients, that's fine. But I was like, do you know what? If you're helping single people, we're not rivals. Like, if you're helping the people that are coming to these parties to help, you know, build their confidence, for me, it's you know, I think that's important. And, you know, especially in the dating industry, it's really important not to be rivals with people. Like, obviously, you have the immediate, you know, other speed dating companies that would be our rivals, but you know, everyone's got the same aim. Everyone's got the same goal, to help people to meet. You know, I love love. I'm such a big romantic, and it's so important to me to help, you know, keep people meeting. And however all of us do that, you know, that's how I came up with the idea of solos, because I was like, I want to create a space where we can put every single type of singles events in one place. So you can come on app dates if you want to. You can bring your app date there, so you'll have the environment of a date night. You know, you can do the wine tasting, we can have our singles parties. And the most important thing to me was creating a walk-in space, because in the pandemic, I was single, alone, and I wanted to go out for dinner. I wanted to go out and have a glass of wine after I finished work. And I couldn't do that. And eventually I learned the skill to go out by myself. And I thought, if there was a place that I could go to every night if I wanted, and sit, and it's okay to be single and sit alone, it would be amazing.
It's so needed, that sort of service, that sort of venue. Even people that want to be making new friends, because there's a huge problem of loneliness right now. And there always has been, but it's got worse over the pandemic. People are on their own, don't know what to do. If there was a venue like Solos where they can go to and just sit down at a table, and then there's a host will come along, maybe introduce them to someone else, or to be friends, have a conversation. That's what we need.
So that would be my, you know, when I came up with this dream and the plans, I wanted to have all of the staff as cupids, not waiters, waitresses, but they'll all be cupids. So they'll all be given matchmaking training, and it would be like, they can come over and be like, who do you like in here? And almost like a secret message, like pass someone's number over. And on each table I'd have the like the cutlery things with like a stick in, and you can put solo. So if you're in a relationship or you're not wanting to meet someone that day, but you want to come alone, you can have a stick. So it lets everyone else know I'm single or I'm solo, like approach me or sort of don't approach me. And, you know, have people matchmaking within the venue, even to do like working in the day, it would be a co-working space. So if you're single and working at home all day, like you say, loneliness is such a big problem that you could come and work at Solos for the day, meeting other professionals.
It's such a fantastic thing. They used to do traffic light parties. Do you remember them? When you'd have
we tried to do one for SpeedDater, actually, interestingly, and it didn't work. It didn't sell. Because I think as well, I think when you're doing a specific dating event, people are coming because they want everyone in the room to be single. And I think with that, then it goes back to, well, I might as well just go out in a bar because I don't know who's single again. If I go up to someone and they're not, you know, I know you have the colour things, but I think that takes away the specialness of just being in a room full of singles, I think
it does. Over the years, I've been approached by many companies that have designed some sort of jewellery or badges that say that you're single. And every year someone seems to invent one and they go bust about a year later. I've got 5% share in one of these companies. I haven't spoken to her for 5 years. I'm pretty sure they went bust. That was the deal. I'm going to work with you in terms for some sort of revenue. Never happened. But the idea was that you wear a badge or some sort of symbol to show that you're single. So when you're walking through the supermarket or walking down the high street, then someone will know that you're single and know it's okay to approach you. There's one called Single Approach at the moment, which is the name of the badge. It's the same sort of thing. It's a great idea, but I think it makes it very uncomfortable for women in particular. Do they really want to be approached by anybody just because they're wearing a badge? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, like you say, the idea of it is a great idea, but when you actually start looking into it, you know, I wouldn't want to walk around with a badge saying I'm single. I don't think, like me personally, but if you're confident and you know, happy to put yourself out there in terms of, you know, in terms of sort of, I think that's a hard one, really. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think you're sort of almost like separating yourself then. It's like, I'm single. I'm announcing it to the world.
And that's fine. It's fine to be proud to be single.
Absolutely.
That needs to have somebody and all the rest of it. But I think the advantage of singles events, you're going into that, you don't need to have badges because you know that everyone's single. And you know you're going to walk into that venue. There'll be 20, 30, 100 people in there who are all looking for the same sort of thing as you. And I think solo is such a wonderful idea. How would you age restrict it though? Because quite often one of the biggest complaints I used to get at the events is the ages are wrong, or there's no one in my age group, or the men are too old, women too old. How would you do that? Bear in mind it could be quite a random thing.
Yes. So my idea for solos is that every night would have something on, and I would age it the same way as I do with, you know, SpeedDater now. I look at the age range, demographic, what we're looking for. So I do, you know, a younger wine tasting event, an older wine tasting, and then I would always provide an area for people to come to if they wanted to every night of the week, even if we've got events running. So I would still do every single night something different. So every night, you know, I'd have dating coaches come in. I'd do, you know, app nights, you know, people can come and it's just for people coming on dates that have met on apps, for example. So the whole venue would just be full. So they're coming in pairs already to have their first date. And we would just create the romantic atmosphere and make it special and it, you know, make it an experience for them. So I would still do all of the dating events, but just, you know, the slogan that I sort of came up with originally is like, we're every dating brand's wingman, because we want to help every single way you can date and every single company like have their own special thing that they can use the venue for. People want to come and do speed dating nights, they can. If people want to do, you know, it's endless. This for me is just, I think it would just change the dating game to have somewhere safe that people could come and date and meet and, you know, but like I said, even if you do meet someone older, just take it as what it is. You met a nice person that day, you meet someone younger, you might be able to say, oh, you know what, I've got a friend at work that you'd be great for. And I think that's important, isn't it? It's just about helping people in every way, however they like to date. We're providing that for them. We're not saying, right, we're just going to give you speed dating events. We're just going to give you this. We're going to give you everything. Coaching nights. People, especially when you're first out there and dating again, people need help. It's nerve-wracking, it's scary.
Yeah.
They need advice.
You're providing opportunity, and that's what's missing for most people nowadays.
Yeah.
They haven't got the ways of doing this. I imagine if this works in London, you can expand it anywhere in the world, couldn't you, after that?
Absolutely. I mean, my aim is to do it in London, for sure, because that's where the demographic of mainly single people are. For something like that, they'd want to go out and have a drink on a Tuesday night, whereas in other UK cities, people don't tend to go out much in the week, but at weekends, they would. But whereas in London, you go out Monday to Sunday and you have the best night, So I think it's for now, but absolutely, I could take this all over the world.
I remember doing a PR thing years ago called the Love Bus, where we hired a love bus, and it was the top end had a brass band playing music, and we were all down bottom doing speed dating, and I was giving dating coaching on it, and we're driving around London. It got lots of attention. People could just hop on and hop off when they wanted doing speed dating, but the issue was age groups at that time, because if you only got a small space, you can't really date someone who's 80 with someone who's 20. But they just embraced it. It was a fun thing to do, novelty, going on there, getting a free drink and going around. But
yeah, like I said, I think with these things you have to go in with an open mind. Yeah. Because if you go in and then you're disappointed, I watch people sometimes and they get really upset and really disappointed, and you just have to keep reminding them, let's be positive, let's go into this. It is what it is, and you have to enjoy meeting people, and then your aura about you will change, and you start to you will start to draw people to you once you let go and you say, I'm just going to have fun dating. You will have fun dating, but if you're dating to meet the love of your life, you sort of close off to the people. If they don't tick all your boxes, you're closed off, you have tunnel vision, and that's not the way to date. You need to be open-minded and enjoy meeting people. And yes, it's important to have those tick boxes of what's important to you, 100%, but you might go on 50 dates before you meet that person, so enjoy it.
Absolutely, and don't stop at 50, because 51 could be the one.
Exactly.
That's what I tell people. People go, I'm going to give up now, I've had enough of dating, but all it takes is one person to change your life. And if you're not putting yourself in the situation where you're going out to events or even doing dating apps in the first place, how on earth are you going to meet somebody if you're working from home, for example? You're not going to happen. So put yourself in the situations. I know that it's scary to go to a singles event. I know that. It was scary for me the very first time I put on the t-shirt. I didn't know what to expect. I've been there. But when you get into it, you realise everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's feeling a bit nervous. Everyone's always going to be scared of rejection to some degree, because you're putting yourself out there. But you're taking the risk, which is going to lead to positive rewards. You might make a new partner, you might make a new friend, you might just have a really good time. So do these things. I'd like to ask you another question. What is the strangest event that you've ever run or come close to running?
The strangest event? Oh, that is a good question. I'm just trying to think now before the pandemic, because we're still sort of getting back now, but what have I done? We did a cinema date night. We partnered with Odeon, and we did a elite speed dating event. So we had the cafe area in the cinema of the luxury Odeon, and we had wine and cheese board. I think we had prosecco and cheese boards and stuff. And so we did the speed dating in there, and then everyone went in and watched the film together, which is it actually worked really well, because everyone had speed dated before, because obviously cinema's not a great date because you can't get to talk, but we did the dating beforehand, then had the little mixer with the food and the wine, and then everyone went in to watch a movie. I can't even remember what it was Spider-Man or something, but yeah, that was, it wasn't a weird event, but it was a nice event. It was something different, I think, but we did it as a Valentine's Day special. We tried to do pet picnic dating once, bring your pet in the park. And we nearly filmed it actually for ITV, but it didn't end up happening. But yeah, date with your dog.
Doggy dating.
Yeah, that's another one.
Picnic with a puppy. I did an event once. It was an Indian event for an Indian film festival, and we combined the singles event with the Indian film festival. So we had a premiere of a film, and this top Bollywood star came over, this older guy, forgotten what his name was, and he was the star of it. He gave a little talk at the start of the film, and the idea was everyone would do this speed dating after, have a meet and greet with this guy. And do you know what? he didn't turn up for it. He couldn't be bothered. He went back to his hotel and flew back to India. He was so tired with all the film festival. So that was a complete disaster. But the company that were providing the person in the first place gave everyone free tickets for other films. So I can remember that. And I remember doing one, I was hired in by a brand for e-cigarettes. And they had to go and taste the sort of flavours of these e-cigarettes. So they were sitting down doing speed vaping.
Speed vaping?
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea, you know.
Not
that we're promoting smoking, but if you do smoke, why not?
It was a great thing. I don't smoke at all. I had to taste these sort of menthol ones and mint ones and strawberry ones and things like that. And they would go around. In their groups, they would test them in the speed dating and decide which one they liked best. And at the end, they had a big vote. That was the talking point. And it sounds ridiculous, but it works so well. Because any sort of gimmick, anything that brings people together is going to help.
Absolutely.
It can be really good. It's always a good idea to innovate and think of new ideas, which you're always doing, of course. What about real life dating in terms of someone's met on an app and they want to go out for the first date? What to you would be the perfect first date?
I think for me, the perfect first date is doing something together that you both enjoy. So, you know, yes, you could go for a nice drink, you know, sit down by the water somewhere if it's a nice summer's day, or in a pub, because it's safe. There's lots of people around, and I think it's really important to feel safe when you're dating. But I think for me, an activity, something you can do together that if it is a bit awkward, it breaks the ice. I think it's really important to do something that you both enjoy together. And, you know, you might find out you have a mutual love for something. And I think a first date, and what I always say to people about first dates, if this ends up being your person, you'll always remember this first date. So I think it's really important to do nice things or big things for your first date, because that might end up becoming part of your story.
I tell people that every single day, so I'm glad that you agree with me. So many people nowadays do the least effort date possible, which is going for a coffee or going for a walk. And I think you go for a walk and go for coffee every single day anyway. There's nothing special or romantic about that. I always say, do you really want to look back on this in 5 years' time when you found your partner and say, do you remember our first date in Starbucks? Or Costa? Yeah. Other brands are available.
but I mean, I'm not dissing the apps. I use them myself. It's, you know, you have to put yourself out there in every option. But for me, apps has made dating disposable.
Yes.
It's made, oh, you know, he's annoyed me, she's annoyed me, they've annoyed me. Next. And people don't work through their problems or do these big romantic things anymore because they can just go on to the next person. And I think it has made dating very disposable. I think it's taken away, you know, people putting in effort because they're like, oh, well, you know, I'll go on to the next person now. And they're just 3 clicks away. And I think, you know, I'm like you, I think you should do something romantic for someone. You should find out what they like, find out what they enjoy, you know, make the effort. It doesn't even have to be with money, because sometimes people say to me, dating is expensive. And I was like, it doesn't have to be. You know, I'm not asking someone to fly me to Paris. I'm asking for someone to put in effort, you know, turn up on my first date with a drink that I like. And say, oh, you know, I knew you went out last night and here's a drink to, you know, here's your Ribena because I know you love it. Little touches like that you can do for someone and want to do it, I think is very important. And I think people don't have those skills anymore.
They don't. We've forgotten how to do this. And it's becoming harder and harder to do that. And I think just being nice, being respectful to people is what's important. And nice gestures, but doing some sort of gesture. Going for a coffee, going for a walk is all very well during a pandemic when we're locked down. But there's so much more you could be doing. And I completely agree. It's not about how much money you spend. I don't think expensive meals are the best way for a first date anyway. There's too much pressure on that. But doing something that's important, listening to what they said to you in the initial conversations and taking it forward. Even a picnic, like you mentioned, is a good date for the first time. Just take a bottle of Prosecco, go out there, a little bit of food. You're going to bond over that. It's a nice memory. Do things that are childlike. That's what I always recommend. Things you like doing when you were younger. Because dating, it should be fun. It should be childlike to that way. You mentioned that you've done things like ping pong events. And what is that? What you do when you're young? You play ping pong. Maybe you play golf, mini golf. So you're doing that again on these dates. There are so many date venues out there now that do these things. Even escape rooms. Escape rooms are a children's playground for adults, aren't they, really? That's what they are. That's what they're invented for. The Crystal Maze came back a few years ago. Do you remember that?
I know, I never got to go and do it. I
No.
wish I had, but I've heard it's so much fun. That would be a
Yeah.
great date thing, because it's like bit of competition, a bit of,
Yeah.
bit of the at the end when you have to collect all the money in and stuff. It'd just be funny. You'd just be laughing together. And I think I think that's so important when you're dating, to be
Yeah.
able to find someone that you can just laugh and, like you say, just have fun with, enjoy, like you're saying, almost going back to being younger again and just doing something that you love. I think the world is stressful. It's a hard place, isn't it? And I think it's important when you find someone that you're able to have fun with them and enjoy their time and company and want to do nice things for them.
It's the best way to bond, humour. It's the way to get someone really interested in you and to feel relaxed, put them at ease, feel comfortable, and want to spend more time with you. Which is just as well. That's all I'm going to say on that one. That's how it works. So wonderful, Sarah. Thank you so much. Any final tips for somebody who is thinking about attending an event or going somewhere in real life and they're a bit nervous?
I think speed dating 100% is the best way to get back into the dating game. So if you're nervous, a singles party, they're great, but they are overwhelming. So start off slow, come open-minded, do a bit of speed dating, get yourself a glass of wine. Always recommend that. Get yourself a glass of wine or a beer, or if you don't drink as well, that's fine. Get yourself a non-alcoholic cocktail, but something that you can feel, sit down, get to know other people, enjoy it, use it as dating practice. And then when you're building up your confidence, get yourself to the singles parties, because it's such a good way to meet somebody. Like, I really am just the biggest advocate of these singles parties, because, everyone in the room is single. We've been doing these for 20 years now. Speed Date is celebrating 20 years this year. And it's, get yourself out there, get yourself to a singles party, get yourself speed dating, and use the apps in between if you want. Use it to build up your texting, your texting practice.
You're flirting.
You're flirting. I'm awful at flirting. People say, like, it's amazing that you do your job, because your flirting skills are not great. I can tell someone else how to flirt, but me, when I meet someone, I'm like, what's your favourite cereal?
I've heard some very odd questions in speed dating like that. I really have. I've had people that pull out lists and they read out the list of 20 questions as they go through it. Oh my goodness, they're trying so hard. But I coach them in that situation. I would wish we had time to go over your dating profile on the apps that you're using and look at that, but we're not going to do that now. You're safe. You're safe.
Yeah. Yes, I am. I need some dating coach me. I need it.
I wish I thought that before, but we've got so much great information here. My advice: if you're thinking about going to an event, go to it. What is there to lose? You're going to have an hour and a half of your time, and use the hosts. That's my final bit of advice from me. The hosts are there to help you and to introduce you and put you at ease, and make sure they do their job and give them a bit of a push and tell them if you're a bit nervous, and they'll know to look after you. That's what they're there. They're looking out for people that need your help, and they want to go and talk to you. If they just stood on their own doing nothing, ringing a bell whenever I'm not sure what you do at speed date. Did you ring bells? What do you do?
Yeah, we still ring the bells.
Still old school, ringing the bells.
Move round.
Move round. Can you move round, please? Can you move round? Excuse me. Because that's what happens. People linger, don't
Once
they?
people start drinking as well, it's like trying to herd cattle.
I know. I remember that I used to be quite firm with that, but I miss it so much. Sarah, it's been such a privilege to talk to you. I know we could just talk for hours and hours.
I know, yeah, we could speak all day about these things. The love of the dating industry.
It's amazing. If someone wants to find out more about you, how do they do that?
So finding out more about me, you can head over to SpeedDater, and then we have my podcast, which is Romance and the Realist, which I do with Kasha. And I'm the romantic big the big romantic, and she's the realist. She says it how it is, and I'm all fairy tale land. So yes, you can find me on Romance and the Realist and at SpeedDater events.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sarah.
If anyone ever wants to come over and ask for advice or just are nervous, please come and see me, and I'm happy to talk to you.
Brilliant. I'm sure they will do. Thank you, Sarah. Have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for listening. I'd love to give you a free copy of my latest book, which you can download right now from my website, jamespreece.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could share the love by taking a few seconds to write a positive review on the iTunes store right now. See you next time.